All right, thanks. Man, this is weird. All right. Can I get everybody to stand up for a second? Do a little livening up, stretching. It's that time of the afternoon where if you don't, you're going to be snoring in your seats by the time I get 5 minutes into this thing. So, and I'm a college professor these days, a fair bit of my time, so I'm used to seeing a lot of students sort of like nodding off at the back of the classroom. Okay, that's good. Go ahead and have a seat. I'm not going to do a PowerPoint presentation today, and my presentation is going to be fairly big thinking, stretching your mind, stretching your heart type thinking a little bit, and then if there's in the questions, if you have more specific questions about career development or education or whatnot, we'll get there. But I wanted to start out by, this is almost kind of a little bit of a cafe type atmosphere, so I'm going to throw something at you which is a little bit different, but it's the way I sometimes like to introduce myself. So, I was born and raised up in Northern California. Might not be what you're used to, so right here I'm going to warn you. I'm talking about the country out in the sticks with peace-loving hippies, rednecks, and hicks. My parents were the hippies going back to the land, digging in the garden, building houses by hand, living on a commune, getting down with Mother Earth, singing and dancing and loving and giving birth to me one morning on the cabin floor. Smoke from the fire rising out through the door and up into the sky where Orion shone down. No need for them to look because they already had found a perfect name for me, a perfect place to be, living and loving and growing in harmony with the birds and the bees, climbing up in the trees. Never a day that I didn't have scabby knees because I'd slide down a mountain on a cardboard box and run through the creek without shoes and socks and then roll back up that mountain on my one-speed bike, fly back down, and then go for a hike. I'd climb up to the top of the tall fir trees, clinging to the branches, swaying in the breeze, then jump into the pond from the old rope swing, splashing into the water till the dinner bell rings. Yeah, I played hard and I played tough, and when the sun went down, I had never had enough of swimming and playing and splashing and running free, because the great outdoors is the best place to be, not sitting at home and watching TV. In fact, we didn't even have one, and I hardly cared because there was so many better things to do out there. And it wasn't just me, there was a whole big crew of us. Those summers of love led to a whole big slew of us babies. Growing up wild and free. And now that I'm older, it's plain to see that it's all about roots and a place to call home. And the knowledge that no matter where I roam, I know where I'm from. I know who I am. And it's thanks to my parents going back to the land. Thank you. So, I'm not saying that we should all do another back to the land movement thing, although there's some great things about it. But what I am saying, and this is part of my little 5-point program that I'm going to throw out to you today, is that we're losing track of this notion of having a sense of place in our society. And we talk a lot about the sustainability challenges that we face as a globe, but having a place that defines you, that you identify with, is really, in my opinion, pretty vital. And the more that we get disconnected with that, we don't have that, the more that I worry about humanity to a certain extent. And I know that for many of you, you haven't been blessed with the kind of upbringing that I had, running around in that kind of place. And by the way, I went back there after going off to college and living in the Bay Area and whatnot. I went back there with my wife, and we built a nice straw bale eco home on the property where I grew up, and we're raising our family there. But for those of you who are not living that lifestyle, that reality, I would offer you this. Creating a sense of place can be as simple as finding a tree, or a rock, or a spot on the beach, or a little place by the creek, or a particular bench, or a little cafe. But it's really important to have a couple of those warm, fuzzy, comfy places that you feel like are a part of you, that define you. Because when we're sad, we're depressed, nothing's going right at the office, you need to be able to go inside in your mind and your heart and just take a few moments and be in that place. And I know for me that I have that place, and I will always have that place. And that becomes the bedrock foundation of who I am. And it allows me to go out into the world and be the person that I want to be. So I encourage you to look at that and think about having a place, or a couple places. Now, step 2, define your identity. And some of this comes out of, I'm an alum of the Green MBA program at Dominican. You start out with this awesome class on critical thinking. Some of you I know have been there. You have to be willing to stop and ask the big questions. Who am I? What am I doing here? What are my true gifts in life? What am I here to do? And it's really important, you know, in the daily life you always get caught up and you just don't focus much time on that. But in that class it was a great opportunity, and I often have hard times. I'm sort of an agnostic, thinking about, well, what do I really believe in? Well, we were forced to sit down and write out what you believe in. And I started writing it out and I realized, you know what? I believe in family. I believe in community. I believe in love. And I believe in somehow, some way, trying to make this world a better place, trying for me and for everybody and for all the plants and everything. And so there I have it. It's a manifesto. It's my belief system right there in front of me, and you can't avoid it. So you match that up with an exploration of what are my true gifts, what are not my skills that I got along the way, but what am I really called to do, what am I passionate about? And then you take that and you put it with, what am I here to do? If you ask, and you put those 3 things together and you come up with some answers, I honestly believe that you're unstoppable. So that's step 2. Step 3, cultivate some practical skills and knowledge. Now, for the last couple of years, I've had the opportunity to start a sustainable technology program at Mendocino College, which is in Ukiah, about an hour north of here. It's a great program. We've got a whole bunch of new certificates and a whole slew of new classes and a bunch of really enthusiastic students coming in and learning about a lot of sustainability stuff for the very first time. There are 3 legs to this program that I just want to share with you briefly. The first is hands-on core technical training. There's a lot of things in life that still require some knowledge of being able to do stuff with your hands, and particularly in these trades that we're looking at. And so getting that hands-on skill and training is important. And then leg number 2, what's going on in the world, this larger context, introducing people to the concepts of sustainability and connecting that to the construction class you're taking, or the plumbing class you're taking, or the residential electrical class that you're taking. Making those connections for people that weren't thinking about that at all. That's important. And then the third one is business and entrepreneurship skills. Giving people the ability to be entrepreneurial, because you can't just walk out into the world and think, oh, where do I sign up? Give me the job now. No, that's not the reality of our economy. The reality of our economy is find a path or build a path. And so we need to empower people with the skills and the ability to do that. So go out and find some specific skills and knowledge that will allow that to happen for you. Now, step 4. Oh wait, one other thing on education. I just did a little talk over in the main hall on education, but I had a couple other points that I wanted to just throw in. A lot of problems, I think, with our current education system. And I haven't been in education that long, but my wife is in education as well. And here's 3 little things that I think might help. One, I'm reading this great book. It's called The Read Aloud Handbook. If you have kids, if you work with kids, even little kids or up to young adults, this book will open up your eyes to how much can change by simply reading out loud to kids. It's amazing. It can completely transform your vocabulary, completely get you enlivened, getting kids interested in reading, and the studies have shown that it completely transforms your academic and your life trajectory. And it's great fun. I mean, I'm a parent. It's wonderful. I go home and I feel so good about just sitting down and reading some books with my kids. So that's one. We just need to do that more. That's pretty simple. 2, the thing here is we're really too good at, we focus too much at trying to fill up kids with information and then test it out of them. And we all know that. I think that's, been discussed plenty. But just wanted to say it again, the information today is in the crowd and in the cloud. It's there. It's everywhere. We don't need to worry that much about that, I don't think. What we need to worry about is inspiring kids to be curious, to want to learn. Stop killing off the curiosity. Inspire kids to want to learn, and then hold their hand and show them how to learn. How to learn about the stuff they're interested in. Pretty simple, straightforward, but in a lot of settings, we're not doing it. And then third. The third thing I would say here is, sorry, losing track of my notes slightly. And I already sort of said this, but apply hands-on. I'm tired of these overpriced textbooks and these worksheets. Learn by doing. Let's get out of the classroom, let's do some projects, let's have some interactive experiences. Just a really big fan of doing more learning by doing. Okay, so we fixed the education system, we can move on. Step 4. This one is a little complicated, but it's called see, imply, and infer. And again, this comes somewhat out of that class with Jane Lorand at the Green MBA program. But you have to look at the world around you. You got to see what's going on. You have to see the implications of what is happening. And then you have to infer what is going to potentially happen. And there lies the opportunity. So you see what's going on, you understand the implications of what's going on, and then you infer over to the opportunity. And a couple of examples. For those of you who've seen the little movie, The Story of Stuff, you know that 99% of the stuff that we make, all that energy and time that goes into it, and then 99% of it 6 months later in the trash. All this stuff we're looking at around here, this is the 99% of stuff. No, the 1%, sorry. The 1% of stuff, because it's not sitting in the trash somewhere. That's broken, that's stupid, that's not going to last. Understand what's happening, see the implications of it, infer to the future reality, and there lies the opportunity. A couple more examples of this. The food that we catch or raise, 30 to 40% of it we then throw away. Oh, thanks, that's great. Oh, into the trash. That's stupid. That's not going to last. That can't last. So again, see what's going on, understand the implications, infer to the opportunity for change. One more example. All the vehicles in the US, if they were electric vehicles, we could plug them in at night. 70% of them could be powered by the energy that currently is available at night but not being used. All those power plants keep humming along through the night so that when you wake up in the morning, the power's there. 70% of the vehicles on the road could be powered by that power that we are throwing away. That's stupid. It's not going to happen. It's not going to last. That kind of reality is not going to last. So think about it, look at it, and infer to the opportunity, the change that will happen. And then you can be a part of it. Okay, 2 other real quick ones. AB 32, coming down the pipe in a big way here, going into effect at the end of the year. Stop, take a look at it, understand the implications, infer to the opportunities. One last one, crowdfunding. The jobs bill that passed a month and a half or so ago, if you haven't checked this out, check it out. It's now legal for you as a small startup company to go out and raise money from the crowd. Not quite. At the end of the year, it's going to go into effect. But that's going to fundamentally change how small businesses get started and get funded. So now is the time to be looking at that, understanding the implications of that, and inferring through to the opportunities. So, step 5. And I'll just review here for us real quick. Step 1, find your place. Step 2, define your identity. Step 3, cultivate practical skills and knowledge. Step 4, see, imply, and infer to the opportunity. Step 5 is take action. Now, before I talk about specifically just take action though, I want to talk about this. You know, we've all heard the saying, time is money. Well, time is really life, you know? We only have so many hours left to live. And the more that you can keep that in perspective, the better you're going to use that time, I think. And for me, I got a million things that I want to try and do, and so what that says to me is I need to be as productive with my time as I possibly can. So here's my top 3 quick productivity tips. First one, and this is straight out of Getting Things Done. Clear your mind of everything that you're trying to hold in your mind. Get it out on a piece of paper. Get it into a computer or a program or something. If it's taking up real estate in your head, it's wasted space. You need that space for focusing and acting. Keep track of the information somewhere else. Step 2. Sorry, just let me make sure I get these in the right order here. What I would say is, where are my notes, right? Okay, so here it is. Empty your mind, and we all think that we're really great multitaskers, right? Doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this, we're getting a bunch of stuff done. And the reality is, all the studies have shown we're just really good at getting distracted. It's plain and simple. We think we're getting a lot of stuff done. You're not getting a lot of stuff done. You're just getting distracted. You're checking your email, you're doing this, you're catching, oh, I got you. Shut off the cell phone, shut down the email, and get some work done. That's what all the productivity folks are telling us, so give it a try. It's hard, but give it a try. And then the third one is take more breaks. If you're sitting there forcing yourself to try and work for 45 minutes or longer, get up, walk away from the computer, take a drink of water, get some fresh air. The more breaks you take, actually, the more productive you're going to be. I mean, you could probably take that to an extreme, but you get the point, you know? And it's true. You gotta stretch, you gotta breathe, and you gotta refocus, and that's how you're gonna be productive. Okay, so how do we cultivate this entrepreneurship and this innovation in our communities that we so desperately want and need? Well, here's just a couple of quick thoughts on that. I have what's called a mastermind group. It's me and a couple of motivated friends that meet every other week for an hour and a half, and we sit down and we discuss our objectives and our goals, and we hold each other accountable to them. And I know that every 2 weeks I'm going to be back at that table looking those people in the eye, and they're going to say, so how's it going? How'd you do? And that motivates me. That helps me stay on track. It keeps me grounded. I strongly recommend finding some folks and doing that. It's a great way to move forward and get things done. Okay. Co-working spaces. Need I say more? A bunch of innovative people in one place, all sorts of innovation happening. We need more of those spaces. Networking events. Super obvious, but gotta just hit it home. Like every time you create one of these type of events and people are chatting and yakking and saying, how's it going? And you know, oh, I heard about this and I heard about that. That's where the innovation and the idea transaction happens, and that's where these things start. Now, incubators, I don't even think I have to say anything about that. We've got a great one here. We've got the Share Exchange in Santa Rosa. We've got the one in Marin, and many more popping up. Really essential. And then the last one is, at Mendocino College, I'm working on starting a mentoring database. So we go out into the community, we get an idea of who are all the successful business entrepreneurs in this community, and who's willing to take a little bit of time and lend a few words of encouragement or advice to an up-and-coming, young, hungry student. And then we make that connection. And that's powerful. That helps people move forward in the things that they're trying to do. Okay, so last point, and this is what I'm closing on. I was watching a little clip of a guy that I check out sometimes online the other day. His name is Gary Vaynerchuk. He's a very successful, very rich entrepreneur. And he was saying something that really struck home for me, which is this. He says, you know, I'm pretty good at seeing an opportunity, seeing what's going on and saying, oh, that's an opportunity. But he said, you know what I'm really good at is I don't hedge. I don't sit there and second guess it. I don't think about, oh, it might not work, or that could be a problem, or gee, what am I going to do about that? He says, you know what? I go all in. And I execute, and I get it done. And as Ed likes to say, I make the mistake. You know, you learn from the mistake. If you're going to make a mistake, get the mistake done. Just do it. Because then you're going to learn from it and you're going to be on to the next one. But if you, like me, oftentimes find myself sitting back and kind of going, should I do that? It seems like a good idea, maybe I should. Well, I'll see, I'll just wait, maybe I'll get to it a little later. Now, the successful entrepreneurs, the people that are making it happen, are the people that get over that hump, and they execute, and they don't hedge. And so, in these times, in this world, in this reality that we live in, with all the challenges and everything that we face, and all of the opportunities, all of the implications and inferences that we can see to these new opportunities ahead, I would encourage you to join me, and let's go all in. Okay, so that's kind of big picture, you know. kind of stuff. But I'd also be happy to yak about green career objectives and goals and various other any questions that you might have. Or we can call it good and go get some ice cream. Either way. Anything? All right. Okay.
Just a quick question. So, feeding your wallet and your soul, which ain't all that easy sometimes, at any time. Any particular strategy or tools or portals or ways to think about, sort of optimizing those two feedings?
For me, it's about getting clear on what you would like to be doing with your time. And you know how valuable that time is, and you know that you have to translate that time into paying the bills and a living. But I see a lot of people that are kind of going after it at this level of, oh, I heard about there's some opportunities over here, or I heard that there's this one little program or this business that I heard about is doing well. And what I've kind of learned from my own life experience is that that's all fine and good, but I really encourage people to start from a foundation of, like I said, here's what I know I want to be doing in the world, and somehow I'm going to make it happen. And again, I've been lucky. That's been working for me. I know other people are struggling with it. In terms of specific tools, what I do in my entrepreneurship classes is I just turn people on to all of the successes that I see out there in the world. And I say, look, these people are doing this and they're being successful. Look, these people are doing this and they're being successful. Look, these people are doing this and being successful. And in our little community up there in Ukiah, it's kind of easy because 9 times out of 10, nobody's doing that here yet. And so we can say, damn, that's a great idea. I'm going to do it here. And I think that, that probably still applies here as well. And we've all heard the stories about how Steve Jobs and whatever didn't invent the mouse. He went and saw the mouse and then recognized that it was a great idea and took it and rolled with it. So this whole notion that you have to create something out of the sky is fictitious. It's about looking around and seeing who's doing exactly what you would like to be doing and how they're doing it and how can you do it too.
Being in the community college space, it's a different realm than a 4-year or a graduate level. How do you get students or potential students or returning students excited about a sustainability technology? Or how do you go to them and say, because these are students who either are coming out of high school and a lot of them, they're not going to a 4-year college because they don't have the grades to get into it, or they don't have the money. Or you're getting returning, students are coming back because their job is gone. How do you say to somebody, yes, this is something that is not only is it cool and interesting, but this is something where you can go out and take this and you will actually have a job. How do you make that case convincingly to somebody who they're being told from a lot of outside sources that that's not a real education. That's just something that people in California do.
Sure. Well, when you try and create a new program at a community college, as you probably know, one of the, particularly in the CTE, career technical realm, one of the main hurdles that you have to get through is justifying that program by showing that there are actually jobs in the fields that you're training for in the general region that you're training. So, the first year of the work that I did coming on board at the college was doing a lot of that research. I feel like I can have a pretty realistic, specific conversation with students about that. And I try to take off the rose glasses and help them take off their rose glasses, because it's not like there's booming jobs. And a lot of the people that are making a living in renewable energy or solar or whatnot in Mendocino County are sole proprietors, and that's why we've got the business piece in there. But what I try and do is I say, I've talked to a lot of the local folks, I've looked at a lot of the industry, we have confidence that these industries are growing, there are some jobs out there, and part of what we have built into the program is an internship where you actually volunteer or get paid to work on the job with a local employer for at least a semester. And so that starts to create those connections to and get people plugged into the local economy where they may actually pick up a job. And that's already working pretty well for some of the students in the program. So I can come to it from a pretty confident place in that I have a pretty good feeling of what's really going on out there. And I try and be real clear with people though, you know, this is no guarantee by any means. And part of what I'm trying to stress in the program is creativity, flexibility, an ability to really analyze the situation and find the niches. Because there's plenty of, framers that have been framing for 40 years that can't find a job right now, but they just haven't found the niches. And I see those niches and I talk to the people that say, yeah, if you have somebody that can do that, I'd hire them tomorrow. And so I turn around and I tell the class, if you can do this, that guy's going to hire you tomorrow. Let's work on it. And that's kind of how we go after it. Anything else?
I have a question. You mentioned that there was a small business program that we should look into about getting financing from the community. What was the name of that, or was it a specific bill? Or?
Okay, so crowdfunding. It used to be that, are you familiar with Kickstarter? Mm-hmm. So you go on Kickstarter and you put in some money and they'll give you a t-shirt or a DVD or the little widget. But they can't say, hey, give us $50 and you own ownership in our company. Because up until now, that hasn't been legal. In order, as a company, to go out and get money from investors, you had to get money from accredited investors who have to have, what is it, $200,000 a year in income and $1 million in the bank. Those are the angel investors that we hear about. And that used to be pretty much friends, family, or angel investors. Well, now, you can go out to anybody. This is what's coming down the pipe. You can go out to anybody and you can raise up to $2,000 from that person, up to $1 million per year as that little starting up company. And they're working out all the details at the SEC right now, figuring out how this is going to happen. There's going to be an intermediary like Kickstarter where that will do a lot of the processing of the paperwork to make sure that it's all legit and whatnot. And then there's going to be a whole new little stock market where you can go buy and sell and trade your little ownerships in all these little startup companies. It's a game changer. So it's worth doing a little research and learning about and thinking about, wow, Kickstarter's been taking off. It's been, funding businesses like mad. This is just going to amplify that big time. All right, let's go get some ice cream. Thank you.